Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da da. Yai da da da. Yai da. Yai da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da da. Yai da 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 da. Yai da da. Yai da da da. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. So sweet to be with you here. And today we are in the spring equinox, a time of shift. And I'd like to take the time to be with you today in this shift. So, Kat, if you would be so gracious as to share our screen, bring up the texts. Thank you. We may get to the words of that nigun at the end, but let's take a moment to just take in, I'm alive. Just take that in for yourself. And who, what, how is this aliveness? That's all that we're going to explore today. And it is all the Holy Blessed One. I'm bringing forth two brief pieces of two different Psalms that speak to me specifically of this equinox that we're in. Hallelujah, hallelujah, shemesh ve'yareach, hallelujah, kol koch ve'or, yehallelu et shem havaya, ki hu tziva v'nivra'u. Hallelujah, praise breath, sun and moon, praise the eternal all bright stars. Let them praise the name of Havaya, of the Creator. For it was Havaya who commanded that they be created and that we be created. And in this day of the sun and the moon coming into somewhat of a balance, we'll look at that a little bit more. It seems appropriate to bring them forward in our awareness. And Kat, if you would scroll down just a little bit more. Thank you. Hashamai misaprim kavod el uma'aseh yadav magid harakia yom liyom yabil omer velayla yechaveh da'at ein omer ve'ein devarim v'li nishma kolam. The heavens declare the honor of the Creator. The sky speaks of the Creator's handiwork. Day to day they speak out, and night after night they relate what they know. So here we are. It's day for me. Maybe it's not day for all of us right now. So whatever it is for you, take a moment to connect with what part of the day or evening that you are in. And let's look at some information about this day, the vernal equinox. If you could keep scrolling down, Kat. So here we are, Monday, March 20. 5:24 p.m. at Eastern time. See what you'll be doing at that time. That's the moment when the vernal equinox will be occurring. The sun comes to one of two places where its rays shine directly down on the equator. It will then be shining equally on both halves of the earth. Wow, what a beautiful teaching for us to acknowledge that the entire earth is equal, right? Equinox referring to equal of day and night. It's actually a little bit more daylight than night, I've learned in my research, but it's almost just a few more minutes of day. And it's vernal, new and fresh. So we're coming into this sense of newness and freshness in our experience of the seasons. And if you would continue down, Kat, please. Thank you. And Chloe Rain looks at this time in a way that I think is really important for us, because I like to think, spring, I can begin shedding layers, literally, right? Literally, and perhaps emotionally, and in my ability to move outside. And she points out that on the equinox, we honor the balance and the interaction of the light and the dark. And that's why I brought in the texts that talk about day and night. We may feel gratitude for the changes that come with the passing of time. Lovely. And as we consciously link our awareness to the cycles of nature, our understanding of our own cycles, our own personal cycles, begin to deepen. So as we move into our meditation time today, what I will be bringing our attention to is the light and the dark within, and beginning to perhaps shine more light into places that have felt that they could use more light. So with that, I invite us to find our spot that feels comfortable and yet supported. Bring your feet down, flat on the ground if you're sitting, and allow your legs to soften and fall outward if you're lying down. Feel your spine. Being supported by the earth that may be lit in sun right now, or maybe dark with the moon and lit by the moon a little bit and the stars. Allow yourself to become aware of your shoulders, perhaps expanding them so that they can take in the light of the heavens, whether that light is the light of day or the light of night. And just as this day is a day of balancing light and dark, let us also feel the balance within our physical selves of the ground and the sky. At once, they hold us and they stretch us. The earth pulling us down with gravity, pushing us up with gravity. The sky filling us with breath and inviting the opportunity for us to stretch upwards. Let's take a couple of minutes to breathe with that experience. And as you feel yourself settling, feeling the connection with the ground and the earth, feeling the connection with the sky and the heavens. Allow yourself to query. Do I experience darkness inside? We've been living in a very difficult time these last few years. In addition to the difficulties we see outside of us, there are those we experience deep within. See if you can greet the darkness. And if it feels healing for you, comfort it, almost as if you're putting out a hand to stroke it and let it know you see, you feel. You bring yourself compassion. And when you feel ready, allow yourself to experience that same thing with light, with internal light. Do you feel internal light? If so, where might that be? If not, can you invite it in? Can you ask for it from this exquisite universe to pour light into your soul, your heart, your mind, your being? And notice what this experience feels like. What it brings to you. How it holds you. Feeds you. You may find yourself more connected to the dark than to the light. Or to the light more than to the dark. We may judge one or the other. And yet, just as day needs night and night needs day, the two are essential for the other to exist. We would not understand light if we didn't know dark, and vice versa. So on this day of balance, almost complete balance between these two energies, can we imagine holding our internal darkness in one hand? And our internal light in the other hand. And gently bringing them close to one another and allowing one to support the other. So our darkness can be a gestation for new growth into the light. And our light can be a balm and a soothing flow of beautiful liquid over the dark, healing the wounds, each nourishes and helps and possibly heals the other. We'll take some quiet time with this, and we'll end with a bow. And as we gently bring our attention back to our shared room, I invite you to listen to these words of Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch, a way of understanding the balance of dark and light. One glorious chain of love, of giving and receiving, unites all living things. All things exist in continuous reciprocal activity. One of all for one. None has power or means for itself. Each receives only in order to give, and gives in order to receive, and finds therein the fulfillment of the purpose of existence. Yud He Vav He, love, say the sages, love that supports and is supported in turn. That is the character of the universe. May it be a sweet spring.
Thank you so much, Robin.
You're welcome, Mark.
Perfect entry into a new season and a new week. And friends, we seal the practice as we do each day, offering an opportunity for those of you who are in mourning or observing your site, or if it's your custom to join in the Mourner's Kaddish, to do so. And you can put the name or names of those you are honoring today in the chat box now or after you recite Kaddish. And if you're not reciting Kaddish, you're invited to just stay present for those who are and offer your support, kindness, and love at a time when they need it. And thanks to Kat for sharing the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on the screen. And if you're reciting it, I invite you to join me by rising in body or in spirit, and you can unmute at this time. Yitkadal, Kadash,
Shmei Rabbi, Kol Yomei Chon,
Dayed al Beit Yisrael, Agala,
Amen.
Yehish Me
Shmei
Lama,
Rabbi,
Olam Lamei,
Maya,
Yisbarach,
Yitzbarach,
Yishtalach, Yitar, V'Yamami, Yitzhar, Yitalel, Yitalal, Shemiyachdav, Shila Mikol Birchata V'Shirata Ushbechata V'Nechemata Amiran Ba'alma Shru Yesh Lama Rabba Shemaya Chaim Aleinu V'Al Yisrael Shru Useh Shalom Aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Yisrael V'Al Kol Yoshvei Tevel. Amen. Friends, thank you so much for joining us today. I want to wish you Shavua Tov, and as always, you're invited and more than welcome to stay on for a conversation with our teacher today, Rabbi Robin Damsky of Limitless Judaism, or just to, if you'd like to just stay with the teaching and stay with the practice, you can use this time in our community as a container to do so. So please feel free to extend your practice if you'd like for another few minutes. If you're leaving us now, we hope you'll join us tomorrow. Tomorrow will be led by Zvika Krieger, who has led us once before, who is the spiritual leader of Chochmat Halev, a wonderful Jewish community in Berkeley, California. On Wednesday, Rabbi Deborah Ornstein will be here to lead us. On Thursday, Rabbi Jenny Solomon. And on Friday, instead of Rebecca Schistler leading us as she usually does so beautifully into Shabbat, Sarah Waxman of At the Well will be here to help us sit into Shabbat and also usher in the month of Nisan. So we have a wonderful week coming up. And Robin, thank you so much for kicking it off so beautifully for us today.
My pleasure.
So I'm going to invite you in here. And just a reminder to everyone that if you'd like to ask a question or just feel free to share a reflection on your experience or on the teaching or whatever came up for you, totally optional, of course, but you feel free to use the chat box. And I'll keep an eye on questions as well there. Let's see. Interesting. Did not know this. The Persian is also the Persian New Year today, according to Anne. Did not know that. Well, I have a lot of, I have many questions. I mean, good questions, not like, why did you?
Actually, want to start. Before your question, I want to start by acknowledging a message that came to me privately, which is that I acknowledge different times, but I didn't acknowledge different seasons. So, for example, when I used to live in California at this time, very different time of the year in terms of what was going on outside. And so there may be people who are with us today who are moving from spring or from the ebullience into a colder season. So I just want to acknowledge that while that may well be true for some of us, we can still hold that balance, right? The balance. Yeah. So thank you, Ozzy.
That was actually my question, because I was thinking, wow, you're a hemispherist. I'm so predisposed to see the world through the lens of the Northern Hemisphere and all the seasons. I think, oh, the whole world, it's spring for the whole world. And then I think, no. And the truth is, I don't know if I've ever actually been in the Southern Hemisphere, truthful myself. That's where I'm coming from. So, what do you think about that? Because, the teaching was very much about, part of it, there were a lot of wonderful elements there that you brought out, Rob, and one of which I thought was like awareness of balance, and it was interesting that you said, like, it's not 100% balance, like it's a little bit more light, right? But this balance and holding this and that at the same time, that helped me in terms of that kind of hemispherism of mine, that I can think, oh, right. Well, half the world is living a very different reality than me right now.
Right.
And I can hold both at the same time. It was actually very helpful saying, like, well, it's spring for me, but I guess what is it? It's turning to fall in the Southern Hemisphere. Is that right?
That would make sense. If somebody here is from the Southern Hemisphere, South later.
I feel
This is the autumnal.
it's embarrassing.
Thank you, Tish. Yeah, I know. And it's hemispheric, but it's not just hemispheric, right? If we were in the land of Israel right now, I mean, we had Tu B'Shvat last month, and it's a time for planting trees. And I remember very, very clearly living in California and seeing the summer months, June, July, August, where everything's brown and dead. That's when the fires come.
Right.
So it's not just, Northern and Southern Hemisphere that experience changing different places in the seasonal world. But it's also, it's beyond, it's that. And
yeah. You also invited us to notice, what was that inner light, or the struggle to notice that inner light. I thought was a beautiful part of the teaching and practice there. And there's a question about, which is a great question, regarding our internal darkness, how our internal darkness and internal light can support each other. Would you speak about how our internal darkness can support our light? Would you speak about how internal darkness can be nourishing or healing? I guess you used the word gestational, which was, powerful.
Right. So, all life starts in the dark. Think about the deep sea. We think about planting seeds under the ground. We think about the womb. These are dark places. And the darkness that we may feel inside may not feel like that, right? It may feel like it's punishing or hurting. It may feel like it takes us away from the light. And one of the things that meditation has really helped me to do and continues to help me to do is to be kind to the dark inside and breathe into the dark inside and cry if I have to cry and reach out to people so that I have support. When I do that, the darkness begins to heal. And I may not instantly have one of those like, oh, it's all light inside, like a Hollywood movie. What I do experience is that the pain and the suffering of the dark begins to maybe thaw a little bit, and that there is there's room for other, and that other usually, if I'm gentle enough with myself, it's like open up the curtain just a tiny bit and say, okay, maybe a little bit of that light can come in. I also think that if we let too much light in too fast, it can be too much for us. So being very, very gentle with the places that hurt or that feel dark, I think is important. And I also want to add that creativity with the darkness is also a really, really beautiful way to befriend that experience and also to help it express. So whether you write or draw or grow things or design tea, just whatever, something that's a creative endeavor where you can allow yourself to really express all of yourself. And let the dark feel like it has a place to, like the alchemy can happen and it can transform itself.
Andrew is asking, what is the source quoted by Hirsch that you had? I think that was towards the end, right?
Yes, it's on the source sheet. I
Right.
didn't pull it up because I wanted to allow people to kind of move back from where they were.
Right.
We could call up the sheet, or I believe that the link is.
I got it. I have it handy. I got it here.
Yeah.
You go.
So I love the quote, right?
Mhm.
Because we experience opposites all the time, yin and yang,
Mhm.
all the time. And what we do with them is we make one of them good and one of them bad. And sometimes we may shift and make the
Mhm.
other one good and the other one bad.
Mhm.
What this quote says to me is that it really is all one, and it's all love. It's all one and it's all love.
Do you know what this? I think Andrew's asking about that source. I guess. Do you know where where
I
Hirsch
pulled
is?
it out of it says the third letter.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, third letter.
Mm-hmm. And the question I had also for you, Robin, was about, you began with the nigun. Maybe we can also end with the nigun. This is Rabbi David Zeller's Chayani, which kind of describes God as aliveness, which I think is just a wonderful, of the many words that we can use. That's a great, for me, it's a very impactful, resonant term in English.
Yeah.
And you invited us at the outset just to notice notice that we're alive. If we're here on Zoom or on YouTube,
Right.
presumably we're alive. And just noticing the aliveness is to notice that presence. And then you invited us into, and notice the presence in what we perceive as dualism, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
The dark, the light, the north, the south, the binaries that we notice.
Right.
You invite us to that there's something that permeates and supersedes and transcends that binary.
Yes.
Which is love. You want to say anything about why you chose that to begin with?
Why I chose that melody?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I have my theory, but I wanted to hear
because and my hemispherism is going to be really leaking out, so I apologize
we invented a new term here
in advance, right? Yeah. That as we Well, let's take it out of hemispherism. All of us, I think, experience both darkness and light. And this day is an opportunity in this hemisphere to experience the lengthening days. In the southern hemisphere, it's the preparing to experience the shortening days. And in either situation, reminding ourselves that we are connected with all life. And if that feels like it's opening, great. If it feels like the darkness inside of us is so strong that we're not feeling that opening, there's an invitation. If we're moving into the changing season towards fall and shortening days, it's yet another reminder that that we are definitely always in touch with that life force. And it's a blessing. Is it not the holy blessed one?
I'm putting a link to his version of it, and for those who might like to listen to it.
Great, great.
But maybe you want to take us out with that, Robin? And
Sure.
Lovely.
Can I quickly mention? I think
yes.
maybe.
Oh yes. Yeah. I put the link to the website, but why don't you specifically mention what you're doing?
Some of you know that I've been offering a course called Breathe with the Earth. It's through the seasons, and spring is the next course. I changed the dates a little bit. So the course is starting the 27th of March, Monday night, and we'll run 3 Monday nights. It's virtual, and we'll be exploring themes like this and the shift from the season we've been in to the season in which we step. And I'm actually rethinking this now, recognizing there may be people who are joining us from other hemispheres, the other hemisphere. So we may refigure exactly how that goes. But I'd love to invite you to participate, and the link here will take you to the registration page. limitlessjudaism.com will put you into a place where you can sign up for communications, and we can interact directly. So I hope you'll join. Be lovely.
Thanks for that, Robin.
All right, so let's sing ourselves out. And I think that maybe I'll go just directly to the English, just given the amount of time. Does that sound like the right thing to do?
Great.
Okay, if you want to pull it up for folks. Thanks. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. I am alive. I invite you to feel this. And who is this aliveness I am? And what is this aliveness I am? And how is this aliveness I am? Is it not the holy blessed one? Is it not all the holy blessed one? My blessings to you, whatever season you are stepping into or stepping out of, may it be filled with grace and heart and balance and beauty.
Amen. Beautiful, Robin. Thank you so much, as always. Mm-hmm. And friends, we hope to see you tomorrow for practice with Svika Krieger. And hope you stay safe and well until we meet again next time. Thanks to Kat Esposito for